Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. I'll just give people a little bit of time to come in. If there's anyone in the chat there that can... Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. Sorry. Feeding back, hang on. I'll just give people a little bit of time to come in. Oops. Right then, we'll try again. Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. No echo this time, hopefully. And hopefully the audio's good. And the video's good. Saturday night here in Phuket, Thailand. We're going to learn some Thai together as part of this presentation, I suppose, on perception and how our perception can be manipulated, and how Flat Earth can help you improve on that. Alrighty, if there's anyone there, give us a shout out in chat. I'm going to put out a Google Meet link as well. Hello, Inrem. Good to see you, my man. Yes, live, indeed. All right. So this time I finally managed to hopefully put the chat in OBS. So when people play this back, hello, Chilster Deluxe. All right. Good day to you, sir. All right, good. Can you just give me a thumbs up if the sound's okay? Too loud? Hello, Guy. Guy. Ah, it's interesting. Is it? Oh, sorry. Is it Gal or Guy? Guy. Gal. Okay. Banner's still on, mate. He slept in the day. Oh, really? Well, I didn't mean to, what's the word? Put up a contest or anything. But, Banner's good. Hello, Fight the Bristolian. Okay, good to see you, man. All right. Yeah, so said it's Saturday night here in Phuket. You might be able to hear the frogs and the toads in the background. Yeah, but I really wanted to talk about the perception and the deceptions that are carried out. And of course, this whole thing about perception, this is what Flat Earth is really about, is, discerning what we are taught to perceive, discerning from reality and what we're taught to perceive. I've got this quote up here by this guy called Francis Scott. And it's really true, isn't it? Because the test of first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in the mind at the same time and still have the ability to function. So, of course, we know that, what we often see is cognitive dissonance when people just want to fob off the globe, or they just, assume that there's nothing else that you could ever perceive other than the heliocentric model. If I'm wondering, okay, they're over at Banners. All right, I checked. I didn't see him on live, so yeah. But it was just kind of preparing in the background. Been thinking about doing this for a couple of days now, but household activities and family life took over. So yeah, just found myself with a free moment today. So yeah. We all know the story that goes with how we became flat earthers, right? You start questioning the heliocentric model, which we're taught before we ever observe things in reality, really. When you're a kid, of course, you look at the sun and you look at the moon and you look at the stars, but you don't necessarily look at it so long that it's rising in the east and setting in the west, and you might occasionally see the moon, you might not, and sometimes you see the moon in the daytime. You think, oh, right, and then maybe later on you realize there's a bit of a pattern to it, yeah? So of course, this whole idea of making predictions and seeing a pattern and then making predictions on those patterns, and then these conclusions being based off science, is really just, kind of a mix of inductive and deductive reasoning, right? And of course, we're made to think that we're quite smart if we can imagine ourselves being on a globe, not because we see any curvature, not because we see any spin, and not really because we see stuff in the sky at first, but just because we're told that you can, Polaris goes out of view, or sunrise and sunsets happen because the Earth must be curved. And you're taught that you're smart to use this deductive reasoning based on, if deductive reasoning is based on having a certain set of facts to start with, and then seeing some other facts, and then kind of marrying them together, and you've got your deductive reasoning. But that might be used in a court case or something like that, but it doesn't mean that one party is guilty or innocent. It's just that an argument is put forth through deductive reasoning by a solicitor or a lawyer, and then you're kind of led to a certain conclusion. Obviously, a lawyer has a certain conclusion that he wants the jury to reach, whether it's guilty or innocent, or that's the evidence that you need to take on board, and that's the evidence that you need to ignore. Yeah. I'll come back to the chat later on. I just got to get over my blurb, otherwise I'll just get distracted. Yeah. So we all know that we're taught to perceive the Earth as a globe, not because of anything we actually observe in reality, or see, or measure even. It might be shadows from sticks, but then the rest of it is all perception. It's all just this perception. So I've got this picture at the top there of which way, that way. These if you go through Google and you look for pictures of Earth or the sun and the whatever, you're always presented with the same thing. Yeah. And that's what we're taught to perceive, isn't it? Yeah. Before we've even kind of established these patterns for ourselves. Yeah. So we see with the photography that you can see there, we see the star trails, or we see that the sun and the moon go across the sky. Yeah. And then we're taught about sidereal motion, or of the sidereal orbits of the moon, or whatever, and all these explanations are brought up to explain the model. Yeah. But that's the only thing we're taught, so it's really solidified in our minds. So we understand that it's a struggle, and of course all you truth seekers out there have taken it upon yourself to question your perception of reality. Yeah? And it might have come about for other things, other so-called conspiracy theories. Even if you go to something like the light bulb conspiracy, which is a genuine conspiracy, right? They used to make light bulbs that could last 50 to 100 years, but now they make light bulbs that probably won't last you more than a year, deliberately, so you can buy more. Yeah? So, you could start there if you want, the light bulb perception. It's just something that is true and is done to eventually give you the perception that you've got to throw away your light bulbs and buy new ones all the time. Yeah? Because they don't make them like they did in the old days, do they? Yeah. So I wanted to kind of show you a bit of this. This is the Thai alphabet, yeah? So, okay, we're all familiar with the ABCs, right? And we see the letters, and actually English is it's clever because it is an easy language to learn. You get the sounds and you can work things. Once you know the basics, you can work things out. You can read. All my kids just learnt to read on their own. No one told them, they just worked it out. Yeah. But you'd struggle to work this out. Thai language. Yeah. Okay. Wouldn't you? Yeah. because it's totally, totally different. It's a totally different perception on how we communicate. Yeah, I was going to take you through a couple of letters here, and you just got to, if you just think about the fact that if you were taught this from an early age at the same time as ABC, then it would be no problem. You'd soak it up like a sponge, and you'd have that discernment between the two. You'd be able to differentiate between the two, and they would be easy to. It would be easy to hold this in your mind, and it would be easy to hold English in your mind. Yeah, but of course we're only taught one way to perceive creation. Basically, you've got to remember that the whole heliocentric model is based. Well, there's a creation story that goes with it, a big bang, some everything from nothing for no reason. Yeah. And this is easily debunked just by looking at reality, because you look around you, people make things, they create things, and you look around you, and animals and wildlife and everything, the whole environment is definitely intelligently designed. It's created. Whether it took eons to evolve or not doesn't really matter, makes no difference. The intent was there to create something. Yeah. And so, I can just see some people arguing about the sun. This is it. You start arguing about the sun, and this is just your perception. You have been blinded from looking at reality. If you think that the sun sets because the earth rolls around backwards, then, that's just your perception. Now, you can imagine it like that, if you like, but there's other ways to imagine it too. Yeah. So, of course, I think the thumbnail for this had a couple of models, maps. It's got a flat Earth and a globe Earth. And again, this is just a perception deception, as it were. Just like politics, where you're kind of taught that, or told that you can only choose between, the Reds and the Blues, or the Republicans and the Democrats, or Labour and Conservative, when there's a whole bunch of other parties, political parties. But so you can see that, if you just question the globe, then you're given this other thing, which is you have to change your perception. You have to have the ability to perceive things, to just totally get rid of the globe Earth heliocentric perception and all those explanations, to put them to one side. Yeah. But you see, this isn't always about who's right or wrong. And again, what I've put in the thumbnail is this like the flat Earth that we're shown with it's just an azimuthal projection, and then this idea that it's in space. Yeah. And all that stuff. This is just again just playing with your perception, or not not abandoning the heliocentric model. Yeah. So let's have a look at it. For example, I'll just show you a little bit about this. Yeah. Try and get it with the camera. So this one, the first letter of the alphabet, where am I there? In Thai, is called Gaw Gai. Now, Gai is a chicken. All right, and you can see here the next one is actually Kai. Very, very similar sound. So we've got Gai and Kai. Yeah, chicken, eggs. All right. This letter here is called Gaw Gai. So it's the G sound for the word Gai, which means chicken. Yeah. So they actually say Gaw Gai. It's like you saying A apple, B ball, C cat. They actually say the alphabet like that, so it's Gaw Gai. Now, what's really cool about this thing here, this little kind of like a N with a crooked bit here, this is actually, if you ever get the chance to see chickens scratching around in the dirt, when they scratch with their claws, if you look at the mark they leave, they actually leave a mark like that. Okay, so that's why this symbol is called Gaw Gai. Yeah. All right. Now, I don't know if you can actually see the word there. And what they've done, what happens with the word is this letter gogai is there, but before the letter is the I sound. So it's actually backwards compared to English. Yeah, the vowel goes behind, or comes in front of. Sorry, the consonant. So this is a consonant, and there's always going to be a vowel. Yeah, but there's loads of vowels, and those vowels will have a kind of like an upward going sound, a downward going sound, a flat sound, or a kind of wavery sound. Yeah, so that's denoted by this other little thing here. Yeah, so there's the consonant and then the vowel before it, and then this little symbol on top, or sometimes it's below, depending on which tone you've got to add. So it's a very tonal language. Yeah, okay. So this one is ko kai, gorgai, so that's more like a G, and this one's ko kai, so it's more like a K, kai. And I don't know if you can see it, but you've got the same setup here where you've got the consonant k, and then you've got the I sound here, which is like a vowel before it, and then again you've got this little symbol that tells you it's the same sound as gai, kai. Yeah. This one is ko kuat. So it's another k sound, but it's slightly different, yeah? But kuat means bottle. And this one is ko kwai. And you can see that it actually looks like the back end of a buffalo. This is buffalo, yeah? So, sorry, this is bottle. Ko kuat, ko kwai, yeah? This one's ko kon, ko la kang. So actually, you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consonants of actually, in English, you don't have, you have only one letter for, which is K, K, or maybe C, yeah? So already you've got to get into this whole different way of thinking, yeah? This one is ngo, ngu. Ngu is snake, so ng, it's a ng sound. It's like ng, ng. So that can be the beginning of a word sometimes, yeah? Okay, ng, ngu, so ngu is snake, yeah? So it's just an example of how totally different this language is in Thai, and how it's a nightmare to learn if you're already indoctrinated with another language, right? Like I said, if you learn 2 languages together, you know, like my kids are obviously okay with this, and they might learn a bit of Chinese as well along the way. They're doing fine, yeah. And I think that's great. You know, there's no right or wrong. That's their way of doing it, and there's another way. So, you know, they're growing up, you know, kids that are growing up bilingual are growing up with this ability to hold these 2 concepts and perceptions. They're taught from an early age to have these different ways of perceiving language and communication. And that's fantastic. That's surely going to help in later life. Yeah? So that's the thing. You know, when we talk about being brainwashed and indoctrinated and stuff like that, it's because that's what's happened. You know, we've been told that this is the way you have to think about it. Yeah? And, you know, the Globers have this massive problem because, you know, it's, in one sense there is this cognitive dissonance going on in order to hold the globe model in your mind, because it goes against everything we see and experience, yeah? There is absolutely no way you would look across a flat stretch of water or look at the sun and the moon and think that we must be spinning around them. No way. Yeah. Well, someone obviously did at some point. But it was, you know, it was that getting off on that ability to make predictions. Yeah. Yeah. So you have you know, this is it. You have people demanding, what's your model? You know, your model this, and they're looking at maps and stuff. Yeah. And claiming that they're models. And they're, again, creating this false dichotomy. Yeah. For what? Let me just go through the chat a second. Okay. Good to see so many of them. So, Flight, fight. There is only one thing that makes me reject the idea of flat Earth. The sun doesn't change in visible size, and it goes below the horizon, which both can't be possibly on Earth. Again, you know, people say, "Oh, that wouldn't be possible on flat Earth." It's like, what are you talking about? It is. The Earth is flat and level, whatever you want to call it. You know, don't piss around with the, you know, the meanings of words. You know very well what we mean when we say flat. We don't mean like flat like a piece of paper. You know, mountains and valleys and what have you, of course, yeah. But again, you just look at reality. You know, you look at how the sun will go behind buildings, it will go behind hills, and it will go behind clouds, yeah. And you don't even know what the sun is. Again, when you say things like that, when you say things like, "Oh, the sun doesn't shrink in size," well, it does actually. It actually does, especially if you get higher and see it for longer. But most of the time, we're on the surface, and the sun gets cut off by what? By all the dense air and the clouds above the surface. But of course, in our vision, that's all squashed. Yeah? And sometimes you can see it. You can just see that there's clouds. It just gets very hazy and cloudy. And you can see the sun get cut off before it reaches the horizon. It's really simple if you just look. Yeah? So, you know, the sun will get cut off before you have a chance to see it get smaller, because relatively it's not very far away, yeah. And it's the biggest thing out there anyway. You've got nothing to compare it to. You can't compare the sun with anything else. Of course, we're taught that stars are other suns, yeah. Really? How true is that? Yeah. So, you know, again, flight, fight. You're coming at this with this. You're still attached to certain ideas, and you're defending the globe heliocentric model by saying, "Oh, well, that doesn't fit with the way I perceive it. I can't perceive it that way. I just can't." Yeah. But actually, you look around you, you perceive the Earth as level, and you know it is because of the way horizons work. Yeah. And you see, any smart, proper, intelligent person that wanted to be engaged in some kind of proper discourse, you know, that wasn't showing that they're completely biased, wouldn't have to get aggressive, wouldn't have to get nasty. And, you know, going back to this thing that you can see down here, you know, if you had some, you know, if you wanted to show that you were really intelligent and not just defending a belief, then you'd have to be able to just really totally put aside everything, absolutely everything about the helio. Now remember, the heliocentric model, you know, every single aspect of it has to be the way it is. Like the sun has to be 93 million miles away. Yeah. But how does it look? How does it appear? It appears pretty much the same size as the sun and the moon. Yeah. Let me just catch up with the chat a second there. Yeah, good point in Rem, if that's the only thing that keeps him on a ball. Nouveau Laredo, the known unknown, yeah. The known knowns and the unknown unknowns. Yes, Donald Rumsfeld, yeah. There you go, someone who is very good at twisting perception, yeah? Okay. In Rem, there is nothing to know that has not already been known, okay. No, you see, again, fight, flight. You say, oh, because the sun vanishing below the horizon is only possible on a globe. No, it's not. Oh, dear. I don't know. Get someone to stand behind a wall, a low wall, and get someone to stand behind and get that person to walk away. Eventually, their head will disappear behind the wall. Yeah? That's how easy it is. Yeah? And the fact that horizons stay at your eye level is another thing that tells you that horizons are nothing to do with having this cut off because of the horizon. What was it? What was his name? Rockets Push Off Air. He made a good video today, just a short one, but it shows you this simulator of rising above a globe Earth and how it should drop, and then shows you reality from the Vomit Comet. It's in the cockpit of the Vomit Comet, and the horizon's there at whatever it is, 40,000 feet. Yeah. So even the globe models are wrong. Yeah. And at some point, I'm going to go to have a look at Walter Bislin's thing, because he did this kind of flat Earth thing. Another thing that people don't understand about the azimuth or projection, or they claim to not understand. I think, this is a Glober tactic to pretend to assume that all flat earthers are stupid. Yeah, is they'll look at something like, the way Australia is stretched out on an A map, and then I'll get a ruler up to it and say, look, it's not actually that big on the globe. It's the distance is greater. Completely ignoring how maps actually work and how azimuthal projections work. Yeah, because if you look at it, it's got the longitude and latitude lines creating this grid, for example, across Australia, and I think it takes up about 3 and a bit squares, like 3 squares, and there's a half each side or whatever. Yeah, so you can play around with that, and it doesn't. In fact, I'm gonna bring that up now. Just a second. Right, let's see if this is okay. You see that up there, the azimuth anywhere? All right. So, what obviously, here's your, now this is of course still got the globe coordinates, yeah. So, I've showed you this before, but basically you can put your azimuth anywhere and it just, everything else stretches around, yeah. So again, one major issue here is that people are deciding where the center of a map is or where the center of the Earth is. Again, abandon all that. It's not necessarily the North Pole. It's not necessarily the South Pole. Poles are just these points that are chosen. Okay, there might be a star above the North Pole, but has anyone actually been there to the North Pole and stood directly underneath the ground point of Polaris? I don't think so. I've never seen that. I don't know of that happening. Yeah. So let's have a look. If I just bring Australia up here, basically so it kind of looks its normal size right now. Yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3 and a bit kind of these longitude latitude lines creating these squares, yeah. So there's about 3 squares across, yeah. So then when I put the azimuth on the North Pole there, and again we don't know if the North Pole is really that size. Let me just make this a bit bigger, okay. Yeah, all right. We can see down here that Australia is stretched out, but it's still only taking up 3 of those squares, but those squares have been projected outwards. They've been spread out because of this projection, because we've got our azimuth here. So people taking map projections and saying that's your flat Earth model, and then saying, well, look, Australia isn't really that size; it's really this size. Shows that. Well, the thing is, you've got people that actually understand maps that are doing this, so they know that they're pulling off this deception. They're just hoping that, average people are just don't know this stuff. That playing around with a map like this, creating, these stretched out things is just because of it being an azimuthal projection. Yeah. So you can make your center anywhere. Put it anywhere you want. Yeah. There you go. Okay, right. Thailand's the center of the Earth. That's my pole now. I could say that if I wanted to. Doesn't matter where the magnets are pointing there, or whether there's a star above it. I'm just going to make a map, and I say that's my middle. That's the middle of my Earth. Yeah. What you going to do about it? But again, this is all just contained, isn't it? It's just all contained. Yeah. Back to the chat. Awake Souls, hello, your audio way too low, turn it up. Ah, okay, sorry, is that better? Yeah, Inram, light does not travel for hundreds of years, as you're instructed to believe. Yeah, again, the immediate reaction you get then is, oh, but I can see stars millions of miles away. Again, you're just told that the stars are millions of miles away. You don't know that. Gal, guys strongly recommend to watch. Okay, yeah, you mentioned that last time. Okay, The Lost History of Earth, Ewaranon. I can say the name right now. 5 hours of factual, fascinating documentary. Life-changing. Okay. Yeah, fight. You're making idiotic arguments, because if you look, the sun will change size, and it's already been explained. Again, you see, none of you guys can actually listen to reason. You do not have the ability to ditch or just put aside. You know, you globers are all pretending you're smart. You think you're smart because because you can only arrive at the globe through deductive reasoning. And what you call logic, because what's your logic? Well, all the planets are round. Yeah. Mighty Atom, hello there. Yeah, Nouveau, the theory of ball Earth is the greatest prank ever pulled. If you ask me, one of them. It's the top 5. Yeah. Well, this is it. It's good. It's fun, isn't it? You know, there's nothing wrong with it. I wanted to do another. I've got so many ideas that I wanted to put out there, but I thought, okay, let's just go for this one for now, because the fear thing is a massive thing that we really need to think about. Yeah, our lives are ruled by fear. Totally. And we do fear questioning. You know, even just getting over that, questioning the globe model is like, you've got to overcome this fear. Questioning space, questioning the scientists, questioning the men in white coats. Yeah. And my sound, I hope my sound's okay now, because it's kind of like, it's peaking here. And I got it turned all the way up. Yeah. Again, I'm going to explain this to you one more time. Fight, flight, whatever you know. Oh, hello, David Banner. Heard you were on. Okay, you popped in. Stealing the crowd, huh? We're fighting over the crowd. Walkinaxi. Yeah, what was it? Fight, flight, whether you... Yeah, the sun does not go below the horizon. Actually, what happens is all the stuff above the surface cuts off. It could be mountains, it could be clouds, it could be all this stuff, but that's really squished up in your vision. Yeah, it's like a razor thin line, because it's miles away. Yeah, perspective. So by the time the sun gets over there, it's not going below the horizon, it's just going off into the distance and getting cut off, just in the same way that boats get cut off at the bottom on the surface. Because there's mirroring on the surface, and all the waves and choppiness and everything diffracts everything. You can't see the bottom anymore. You can do it on a road, you can do it across the water. Yeah. Exactly the same thing is happening with the sun. It just gets further away than the horizon on the surface. Yeah. But you've got to try. This is it. You've actually got to try. It does take an effort. I'm just going back through the chat. Okay. Okay, apparently the mic's better. Okay, great, thank you. Okay. Mighty Atom, if you draw a shape on paper, then cut it out, do you have to distort it if overlaid on another 2D? Hang on. Do you have to distort it if overlaid on another 2D surface? Not really, do you? No, it's when you put it on a 3D surface, I suppose, yeah. NA literalist, stars are sextillion miles away. Yeah. Mighty Atom, stretch it. Flight, fight. I am making a lot of assumptions about you. Yes, because you're making these claims and telling us stuff that it can't be possible, it's not possible, it doesn't work like this, when it does. We've all looked at reality, yeah? Again, if you see... It's a massive clue that globers are totally indoctrinated. And we all know this. There's no hard feeling. It's not a contest. Again, the glober is coming from a different mindset. This mindset of it's a contest. Your model, my model. Yeah, which model's better? The contest is with your own mind and your own perception and your own cemented beliefs, yeah? Breaking free, emancipating yourself from those shackles that they put on you in school. Because yeah, if the globers, you see, just for me it was horizons. That's what did it for me when I heard Eric Debay saying on one of his in early interviews about flat Earth, he's like, yeah, the horizon rises with you, and it's like bang, yeah, of course it does. And you compare that with the globe Earth narrative, where the horizon is a fixed geometric form, and then you compare that with reality, it's not. Yeah, but then I also reached the conclusion that it doesn't. Horizons don't necessarily prove flat Earth. Well, they kind of do, because we see flatness, yeah, and we see that's how our corridor will narrow, train tracks, it all just does the same thing. It's all narrowing off, yeah. It looks flat because it is, yeah, and it measures flat, yeah. But that's the thing, horizons are. This is also the thing with the sun as well. You've got to understand that the sun. You remember looking at the sun when you're in the back of a car, you're going on a long drive or something. You're looking at the sun, and you're seeing everything else whiz by, but the sun, you can move about like that, and the sun doesn't really move. It kind of follows you. It stays with you like a reflection. The sun could be a reflection. If you walk around a lake or something, and you look at a signpost or something that's reflected in the water, you watch it follow you, just like the sun does. Yeah? I'm not saying the sun is a reflection, but it could be. It's another way of perceiving what it is, the same way as you could perceive that the moon is some kind of reflection, or it's concave or whatever. Yeah? So again, the biggest problem that a lot of people have is being presented with this false dichotomy. If you're a flat earther, you believe that. That's your model. Yeah? It's not true at all. There are probably millions of so-called flat earthers, and we've all got different ideas, and we're all contributing, we're all helping each other think, and that's brilliant. That's what's so fun about it. You're free to imagine it any way you like. No one's right or wrong. You can talk about what the physics might be. Is it infinite? Is it this? Is it that? Is it a puddle? What's wrong with that? The only people that think it's wrong or claim that you're stupid or demand that you come up with an alternative for them just so they can try and debunk it based on their preconceptions is because they fear leaving this behind. Dory Gray, discernment, yes. Okay. Titus 2. NREM, yeah, he's really going to prove his claim, though a chat on the stream to people who is going to, even at the end of the day, believe his claim. Okay, right, whatever. Yeah. Oh, the Sute. We are dancers in vibration. Hello. That's a long ass name. David Banner's in the chat. Yeah, said hello already. Zeus Scott, hello, my man. Watch this. Nuevo. I watched a video of a guy standing next to a lunar re-entry module. The thing was tiny. Such a joke. 3 guys inside with no toilet in there. Yeah. Yeah. But these it's like the SpaceX pilots don't need toilets because they're all kind of they're all these different genders. They're not male or female, so they don't need toilets. It's the new age, don't you know, man? Snaggletooth proof. Does light even travel at all as we perceive it instantly and in varying degrees of all times? Yeah, man. It's like when you create electrical circuit, isn't it? You can kind of have it going one way and then another, or giving it an option to go a long route or a short route, and it will go the short route, yeah? And it's like, it's weird, isn't it? Because it's like the connection's already there, and then boom, the moment you make it, it's like, ding, it's instant, right? Yeah? Sherlock's Apprentice, my latest video debunks gravity using the moon's orbit. It's a bit boring, but it uses... Okay, Sherlock's Apprentice, thank you for pointing that out. I'll take a look at that later on. Yeah. All right then. I'm still just trying to. Yeah, good point, Chilster Deluxe. We don't believe anything. That's the whole point. The whole point of this is to get away from beliefs. Yeah. Yeah. Get away from beliefs. And it certainly shouldn't be based on what we see happening in the sky. And again, I've just, it's funny how these detractors are doing everything they can to detract from the most sensible, realistic demand. Measure the curvature. And then even when you kind of give them experiments to do, no, they'll tell you. It's great because they're having to finally admit that they can't measure curvature. Yeah? Will Duffy, can't measure curvature. Wolfie, can't measure curvature. What's his name? Critical Think, can't measure curvature. That's their excuse now. So all these people that kind of like talk about being able to make finite measurements and things like that, yeah? Suddenly you can't measure curvature, yeah? So what they're saying is they cannot discern the difference between horizontal and curved, or their version of level. Yeah. Again, anyone can imagine level as being centre, perpendicular down towards the centre of a circle. We can all imagine it. It's just a question of perception. Yeah. No one's ever proven it. Yeah. But in reality, that level's not that. Level is horizontal from, it's like dead reckoning, as it were, on a horizontal line. Yeah. You go from this point to that point. Yeah. Squirrel Sniper, hello. You have Captain Picard as your avatar. Oh, did he? Oh, you talked to Flight. Okay, Flight. How ironic. Yeah. The real Picard described Earth as an upturned saucer. Interesting. Yeah, that's true, yeah. Okay. NA Literalist. Hello. How do recycled water, coffee balls and Mars bars taste alike? Is there any toilet that can recycle wastes into drinkable coffee balls? God, it's just making me cringe thinking of it, man. I want to gag. But this is it, isn't it? You start off by questioning it. It's like, well, is it really possible? The whole vacuum of space thing, is it really possible? That they could be up there all that time. It's bad enough going on a transatlantic flight. Imagine being stuck in that. Oh, there's no windows. You don't see the 360-degree views. Again, it's not. This is deductive reasoning from what you don't see. V. Thomas, hello there. I will not measure curvature for a flatty. I have better things to do, like pick my nose. Walk-in axle, Bill Gates pooped a water machine. Oh dear. Yeah. The Sute. I get fed up with the eclipses can't work on FE apparently. Yeah, like everyone on global rule knows the workings of our Earth. If water shows equilibrium and eclipses happen, then eclipses, the whole thing for eclipses was like, this is again just a total lie, a total misconception, a misunderstanding that, the globe model predicts this and that, and you can only predict. No, people just looked at the sky, and you can do it. You look at the sky for a month or two, and you can work things out. Okay, the sun does this, the moon does that, yeah. And then one day their paths will cross. And this is another thing you're right about eclipses. It's like, well, actually, if you're gonna assume that the sun is 93 million miles away, much, much bigger than the Earth, but light travels in parallel lines, whatever. So, the moon should be casting a shadow on the Earth at least like half the month. Yeah, it's right there between the sun and the moon and the Earth, and it should be the other way around too. The Earth should be casting a shadow on the moon at certain times, because the moon is hovering above, the equator, yeah? But we only get the shadow when they completely line up. That shouldn't be the case. If the sun is massive, in this case, it doesn't matter about perspective, because, you should still see the light coming, a much more massive light than the moon and the Earth. So the moon or the Earth should be creating shadows on each other all the time, because one is between the other pretty much all the time. Yeah. But again, you look at I've kind of got it here. what we see the sun, we see the moon, we see flat water, we see ships go off onto the horizon, they sit on the horizon for ages until they just fade out, get swallowed up. But we see this, we see flatness, we see the sun and the moon go across the sky sometimes. We see the sun and the moon go across the sky every day. Every single day the moon comes across the sky. Apart from we've got a new moon, you can't see it, yeah? Okay? But we're taught to perceive it like this. Of course, the illustrations they show us never have a massive, massive sun. It's always a small sun. And then the Earth. So the Earth is going clockwise, spinning, and the moon is spinning. So they tell you that the moon only goes around the Earth once a month, but the Earth is spinning to make you see it every day. Well, that's just perception. We see the sun and moon go across the sky every day, but they get closer and closer and further apart. And that makes logical sense to give us the phases if the moon is reflecting sunlight, because they're just at different, when they're opposite, then you've got the sun and the moon are opposite above the flat Earth, and you've got the full moon, yeah. And when the moon's coming kind of closer to the sun, then it you get the phases. So you could think the moon is concave if you like. That works. Doesn't have to be a sphere, yeah. But this is just perception. I'm not saying that's how it must be. But yeah, you can't kind of just take bits of the heliocentric model and the whole space idea and apply them to flat Earth. No, you just they're different. They're totally different. Just like English and Thai are totally different. Yeah? They both work. Thai works. You can make yourself understood in Thai. Anyway, I'll tell you what, if anyone's up for a little chat, I'm going to try it out. I'm going to set up a meeting, a Google Meet. No, don't use a camera. Continue without the camera. Just a second. I shall copy this. Ooh, and I shall put it in the chat. All right. So if you come into Google Meet, I probably won't put your picture up or anything, but hopefully you'll be able to hear the audio if anyone wants to come in. Yeah. Pablo's dog, hello there. Yeshua, Saviour, hello. Thanks for coming in. It's great. It's great to be sharing all this. Yeah. And it's great that Flat Earth is getting so much more exposure. Yeah. Because the more people it reaches, I get when someone makes a hit piece on me, I get an influx of people coming in, and it's a chance to talk to them, explain, and if they make some snide remark, well, it just shows others that they've come over to have an argument or to stick the boot in and then bugger off, yeah, without actually wanting to listen. That's not a sign of intelligence. That's just a sign of being in a cult. Yeah, and when people come over and they say something that they've heard from someone else, again, we all get lumped in the same basket. Oh, you're a flat earther. You think this, you think that. That's your model. Yeah, totally wrong, totally bigoted, and it's a disability. This is not being able to even listen to. You don't have to accept. You don't have to swap your belief. But if you want to show that you're smart and intelligent, you say, okay, I can have this idea in my mind, and I can have this idea in my mind. Yeah. And it's cool. And it could be something else. Don't have to believe either one of them. A Mighty Atom, Ken Wheeler covers electrics, magnetism pretty well. Nice one. Okay. Oops. The Bristolian. You want to be a glober again. Just to see a magician. saw a lady in half, I would then call the police and say you witnessed a murder. Yeah, man, that's a good analogy. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because it's like, yeah, you see the magic trick. The Sute and holographic of a daytime, off head when you see it of a daytime. I'm not okay. You're replying to someone else by the looks of it there. Mighty Atom. I witnessed the sun rising the other morning. The moon was not quite full, lit. Oops, sorry. But bright in its own right, where it was illuminated on the west side from 20 to 2, when the sun was still rising. Okay, I'm trying to kind of picture that. Sute says, have you noticed every night and day the moon looks to be turning so slowly? Well, yeah. This is one thing I pointed out in a recent video, or several videos, and of course, again, it's been misconstrued by the Globers who are defending their belief with just by twisting things. My whole point with observing sunspots and seeing the sun apparently cartwheel across the sky is that yes, you see the moon do exactly the same thing. I've had people send me images from California and other places, yeah, where you see the same thing happening, yeah. The sun and the moon both appear to rotate across the sky. Snowman, hello, A Snowman, good to see you. One man, hello there. What's that? You're right, Nick. Standing back, pointing fingers and name calling. Hold no progress. Engagement and dialogue is where. Yeah, this is it. This is what it's always been about, man. Yeah, just yeah, let's share ideas. Yeah, you don't necessarily have to come to a conclusion, because that's isn't it? You know, this is the life journey, right? I mean, you know, where do you get to that point where you know everything? Yeah. Nuevo, I wonder if Pope Francis knows I'm serious. It's not like people sign up to be a Jesuit and the Jesuit school. They teach flat earth. Just my thoughts. Trump might have worked it out, I hope. Yeah. Yeah, I don't put too much faith in the politicians, yeah. Oh, okay, David Banner, you said it's a good idea, Nick. I'm not sure what you mean. Which one? What point? Oh, what's that? P3 to... whatever, it's not cartwheeling in your... Well, you can look, you know, it's funny because what happens is the Globies say, you have to make predictions to fit your model. It's like, no. We're still in the process of making observations and then seeing whether it fits or not with a myriad ideas. Yeah? Again, they just want you to say, "That's my model," and then they can poke holes in it. It's so childish. Yeah. So yeah, you make this is it. It's science in progress. So yeah, whether it is or not cartwheeling, again, it is a question of perspective, right? Whether you know what's actually happening when you're in the northern hemisphere and you see the sun and the moon kind of appear. I've always used that word, appear, to go across the cartwheel across the sky. They aren't necessarily doing that themselves. They are moving, obviously. Now, what kind of path are they moving in? I've kind of wondered if they're moving in a figure of 8, this kind of, or an infinity symbol kind. Yeah, there's possibilities like that. But again, are we talking about something real? Are we talking about a reflection? It's just you know, for each idea, you've got to come up with a whole bunch of explanations and stuff that, well, what, you know, and it's like, well, you can't really. Well, you can come up with explanations, create your logic, create your so-called facts behind your deductive reasoning. But that's the thing, that's what you got to do. You just got to construct all this stuff. It's like creating a stage with a background, you know, you've got to construct it, and then, you know, the characters have got to have this backstory. People are doing this all the time when they're writing novels and things like that. They develop the characters, they develop the scene, they develop the setting. Yeah, they tell the story. It's got a beginning and a middle and an end and all that jazz. Yeah. And while you're reading it, you believe it. You want to see a record P3 Turpin? You want to see? Well, I've got some on my channel. I've got quite a few of seeing this. And again, from Phuket on the equator, it goes across, you know, and you've got to turn around, and but the sunspots stay in their relative position. But you watch it from the north or the south. If you're watching it from the south of the equator, it appears to go in the other direction, anti-clockwise. Yeah, go and look. Just go and look. Yeah. And again, one of the things I've been asking these final experiment guys is, okay, if you're going to be focused on looking at the sun, then go ahead, make predictions based on your model of if everyone could see sunspots from different locations, how would those sunspots appear? Would they appear to cartwheel or not? If you say that's how it looks on the globe, well, go ahead, model it. Model how that works. Yeah, don't just say it, model it. Predict it, and then see if your observations fit. But no, they flip that around and say, you come up with predictions for your model, and we'll debunk you. Yeah? And of course, the other thing that they predict in the heliocentric, or the globe, is they predict, the very model predicts this drop, 8 inches per mile squared, or, 7 meters over 10 kilometers or something? A drop. That's their prediction. That is the fundamental prediction of being on a globe, is that the surface will curve down and away from you wherever you are on the globe. But that doesn't happen in reality, does it? Yeah, and they know this. They absolutely know this. So what they come up with is, oh, you can't measure curvature. Well, level is curved, but you can't measure the difference between horizontal and curved level. Can't do that. But we can fly, and we can fill up our planes and get it to the nearest gallon for the distance. Another thing about, flight plans. People like Wolfie 6020 will tell you that flight plans are only possible on a globe. Absolute nonsense. Absolute rubbish. The distances have already been established. The coordinate system, and again, they just use trick questions. You make a flight plan based on your model, not the globe. Well, the thing is, we've been given these coordinates. That's the coordinate system based, on Polaris to start with, an observation in the sky, yeah? And then, the angles of elevation, blah, 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 and then telling the time came into it for working out longitude, yeah? So that's already just been established. And again, it's just like English is the established language that everyone uses for communication. If I started trying to use Thai to communicate with international businesses, I'd be in trouble, wouldn't I? They wouldn't have a clue what I was talking about. Be lost. Yeah? But it still works. It's just a different model for a language. Yeah? So, they talk about calculating the distance between two coordinates on a spherical model using the Haversine formula, for example. Again, assuming a certain radius, blah, 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 to get your nautical miles and convert from that into degrees. Again, it's all just perception. The distance is what it is. The distances don't change, whether you put them on an A map or a whatever map. Yeah, the physical distances don't actually change. Oh, hang on, I got someone coming in. Just a second. Oh. Yeah, hang on. Okay, hang on. Hi there. Hello, hello. Ah, okay, hang on. Just give me a second, guys. Can you hear me, Sherlock's apprentice? Hi, okay, I got you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
You are quite soft and delayed.
I can hear you very loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but not very well. Let's just see.
Okay, it's the first time I've done this, Nick, so I'm not sure if I'm...
It's okay.
That could be because I'm in China and going through a VPN.
Oh, you go through a VPN. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead. Hi. Thanks a lot for joining. Let's just check with the guys. Can you people in chat let me know if it's audible? Sounds like he's on the moon. Yeah, a bit of a. Okay. All right. Do you want to? Okay. Let's. I'll just let you talk for a bit if you want, and we'll just see if the sound comes through. Okay.
Okay, how's the sound now?
Oh, it's all broken up, man. Just
Okay, so I've got a channel, Sherlock's Apprentice.
Oh man, sorry, it's really difficult to hear you. I wonder if there's anything. Do you want to try turning off your camera first? It's up. Okay, hang on. Okay, my suggestion, Sherlock's Apprentice, is just drop out and come in again. Can you try that?
Okay, I'll try that again, Nick.
Okay.
Be right back.
Yeah, I'll wait. All right, fantastic. Let's hope this conversation gets going. Yeah.
Oh, turn the camera off, is that better?
Ah, yes, it is.
Okay.
Oh, he's left. Okay, maybe he's going to try and come back in again. Okay, good stuff. I hope we get a nice conversation going here. I mean, I can try and put the Google Meet up. To see if he comes back in again. Let's turn that off for now. Okay, I've got to let him in again. Hi, you there? Hello, Sherlock's Apprentice. Okay, he's joined. It's still very choppy.
I can hear you on your channel, Nick, but the delay is really long.
Yeah, I can hardly make out what you're saying, man. Ah, he's left. Ah, bummer. Okay. Let's just see how it goes. We'll get there in the end. We'll work it out. We shall work it out. We shall work it out. Let's see if our man drops in again. You need a faster VPN. That's a shame, Sherlock's. Yeah. maybe, yeah, that's a good point, David. If you maybe turn off or turn down or stop or mute your YouTube. Yeah, he didn't have a bucket on his head. It looked like he had a one man. It looked like he had a good mic there. Okay, you plugged in headphones. All right. Yeah, just take your time. See if you can get back in. It'd be great to see if we can get this going. I'll hang out. I've got all night. Okay. I could hear the main YouTube. Okay. So you need to... Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if my mic was also operating on... Yeah, my mic is on the Hangout as well. So, should be all right. Okay, Mighty Atom, I'll share the link with you in the chat. Okay. Just a sec. Bloody hell, where's the link? I can't remember where it is now. Bloody hell. Information. Right. Copy joining info. Right, hang on. Who wanted to come in? Jilster. No, Mighty Atom. All right, I'm putting it in. I'm putting the link in the chat again. Okay, so click on that to join Google Meet. Helps if you've got a Chrome browser, but you don't have to. Okay, Sherlock. Oh man, it's such a shame. I mean, you're welcome to keep on trying, and you know we can have a two-way, three-way conversation anyway. It's just difficult to know what the problem would be. Right, David Banner's recommending that you just turn down the volume or turn off the volume, mute it. Okay, okay. See how it goes. What's that, Flat Earth Warriors? Hello. If I went, I'd 24/7 be snapping, joking on them and filming it. Don't they think they'd like it? One of us would be frozen Disney style. What are you talking about? You're talking about going to Antarctica? Oh man, that'd be great. If people can join, that would be fantastic. So do try and come in if you can, yeah? You live in China. And this week they've blocked 3 VPNs. Oh man, okay. Oh, I see. Yeah. I wouldn't know what to recommend. Okay, Flat Earth Warriors, a final experiment, yeah. Well, yeah, it's great, isn't it? You know, I think, again, I think it's great because they are ultimately bringing more exposure to this and you know, and it's fine. We know that a lot of people don't have the ability to discern and think for themselves, but then there are others that are curious. And just like all of us, Flat Earth, might have come up a few times, and we just ignored it, and eventually we looked into it. Yes, that's you know, that's why I keep going on about this. You know, keep doing it, and they keep showing and demonstrating their inability to use discernment or critical thinking. Flat Earth Warriors, they asked you to... No, nobody asked me to go. No. But what bothered me was that, you know, of course, when I kind of didn't look into it for a while. I heard them talking about it, but then when I went and looked, it's like, yeah, they were just, like I said, this false dichotomy. They're just... You see, you know, just taking it's the one issue. You know, again, remember that, you know, flat Earth isn't just because of one thing. It's a whole bunch of things, you know, the reality demonstrating itself to us. Yeah? And the impossibilities of the imaginary physics that they tell us to believe in. Yeah? It's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah? But what bothered me was that, yeah, they're just kind of saying there's the globe Earth believe, and then there's the flat Earth, and all flat Earthers believe this. And of course, that's not true. That's not the case. So that's why I felt compelled to say something and say, hey, you know, don't put me in the same bloody basket, or anyone. You know, we're all just celebrating our own exploration. Yeah, we're all just kind of free, expressing our right to think freely. You're still in bed, Mighty Atom. It's grim and bleak here, not quite in the right mind position to chat. Renting room, and landlady is in bed after. Oh, okay. All right. Well, you know, just chill and enjoy the conversation. Yeah? Okay. Chillster Deluxe. That's the reason all of a sudden they want to show it a year, a YR, and a half of practice. Yeah. Yeah. You know. So, yeah. I mean, all of us. I mean, I think most of us are probably here. We're allowed to explore. Well, we're given the impression that we're not allowed to, aren't we? You know, of course, that's all just like you know, at the moment. What is it? They're telling us, you know, they're ramping up the whole kind of World War III narrative, and that will put restrictions on things, and they're doing it just before Christmas. You know, putting the willies up everybody, blah blah blah. You know. That's just their game. That's the game they're playing. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to exploring, I mean, you'd have thought that we're not allowed to explore. But who's going to stop you, really? It's a case of obviously, you know, exploring does take a lot of equipment and resources. Yeah, you need a team. Okay, yes. Okay, good, Sherlock. Let's see if you come in. Thank you. Let's see if you can come in. Yeah, David, absolutely. It's the fear game, isn't it? And of course, this is what the whole thing is based on. With all right, just let me see if, just a second. Oops. All right. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, better.
Okay, I switched the YouTube channel off, so I can't see the chat or what's going on. I can just see this Google Meet.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much for trying. And so you're based in China, yeah?
Yeah, I live in Guangzhou. I've got a similar situation to you. I'm British, got married. Now, I've got to get this right. 8 years living in Guangzhou.
Okay.
And yeah, life is very different.
I'll bet, man. I mean, as a rule, I mean, I suppose it's okay. I mean, there's a lot of high tech. I mean, China has developed a lot in recent years, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But when it comes to the internet, they certainly know how to slam the brakes on it. So it does get a little bit tricky to access things like YouTube and social media. But I can find my way around, you know, swings and roundabouts.
Right. So, man.
The reason I jumped on.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay. No, like I say, I mentioned earlier that I did a bit of studying on the orbit of the moon.
Okay.
It came from a discussion on Twitter, now X, with Simon Dan about, okay, what's the gravitational pull of the sun on the moon? And I heard it was 6.66, another 666 number.
Okay.
He arrogantly corrected me and says, no, it's 2.1 times. And then I thought, wait a minute, that's still a problem. That's still double what the Earth attracts the moon to. So I did a bit of research and I saw quite a few people, very intelligent, people in universities asking the same question. It's like, wait a minute, the moon orbits the Earth, and you've got David Weiss going about how it speeds up and slows down, etc., etc. But there's another problem. If the sun is pulling twice as much on the moon as the Earth is pulling, when we're at new moon, i.e. the moon is closest to the sun, what force is pulling the moon back around the Earth? I thought, okay, I'm going to study this and see what the answers are. And no one's got an answer.
No one's got an answer.
You'll hear things like, oh, it's because the moon is within the Lagrange points, or the moon is within the Hill sphere. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. Okay, what does that mean? Well, yeah, that applies to satellites or space telescopes that have got virtually zero mass when it comes to the Earth.
Right.
The Earth, it doesn't hit the sun. And it comes down to the old three-body problem.
Right.
And the original three-body problem was the Earth, Moon, and Sun.
Right.
So I kept looking in, I thought, okay, there must be some, they've got an answer for everything. They've got an answer for everything. I couldn't find one. Neil deGrasse Tyson said, well, you have this what's called a restricted three-body problem, where the third mass doesn't affect the other two bodies. And that's the same as the Earth, Moon, and Sun. But the Earth gets wobbled apparently by 3,000 miles off centre every month because of the moon, called the Barry Centre. You heard this?
Just say that last line again. The Earth gets wobbled.
Okay, so the moon, like in a dual orbit, the Earth is 81 times heavier than the moon.
Okay.
The moon still wobbles the Earth off centre.
Right.
3 miles. So it's not that the moon is massless. It affects the Earth quite a bit on its orbit. And obviously I'm going totally by their figures. This is what I wanted to do. Take their figures, they keep saying, oh, flat earthers never measure anything, they don't do science, they don't, look at the facts. So I looked at their facts and found their facts don't add up.
Yeah. Okay, I'm catching most of it. I think some of it is I'm not quite catching, but yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? We look at the model or the illustrations that we're presented with and the explanations, and someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's a good storyteller. So he's engaging, and that's why he's got his job as a representative or whatever, a bastion of the heliocentric cult. Yeah. So, I mean, are you basically go on? Sorry.
No, sorry, I jumped in front of you. No, it was just something that with this solar experiment, looking at observations of the sun.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, how stupid to try and prove or disprove flat Earth. And then I was interested in this thing that I remember Simon Dan saying, And it's like, well, let me look at the moon. And, well, this, yes, it doesn't prove flat Earth, but it certainly causes gravity problem. And, they need gravity to
Right.
make the Earth sphere.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It just kind of, it's the whole gravity thing. It's all very, very compartmentalized. I mean, the fact that they drew the conclusion that dropping something at a certain rate has anything to do with, they made that connection to the stars and the moon and the sun and what have you. Yeah, I think you're right as well. The idea of the sun. I mean, that's an old. The idea of the sun being massive, I think, is an old idea from Newtonian gravity. It has to be massive, and it has, because it might be made of gas or whatever. Then it has to be so much larger in order to have enough mass to create, to create the strength of these orbits. Yeah, it's all just it's part of the deception. By the way, it's still very difficult to hear you, Sherlock's apprentice. I'm getting a lot of comments in the chat that, you sound like Donald Duck. Oh,
the audio is still broken up, is it?
Yeah, it's a little bit better than it was, but okay. I think if we just kind of, you keep it measured and as long as I let you talk, it's probably all right. So I'll tell you what, people, you've got a video about this, yeah?
Sure, yeah.
So, yeah, I can probably, I'm not sure if, let me just see if I can quickly hop on over to YouTube. So your channel is Sherlock's Apprentice, yeah?
Yeah, that's the name, yeah.
Hang on a minute. Because I'll put the link in the chat because I know you can't. Right, there you are. And, okay, flat earth proof, must see evidence. Which one are we talking about here?
It's literally my latest video.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay.
Hi guys, Sherlock's Apprentice here, aka Mike, and here finally I've got...
okay, right, that started playing. Okay, I'm going to put that video in the chat. Alright, there you go. People in chat, you can go and watch that at your leisure. And it's a very...
Yeah, my audio is so bad. I wanted to maybe make it a bit easier for people to find out this information if they hadn't come across it before.
Well, brilliant. Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. This is it. It's so difficult, isn't it, to kind of there's so many things we think about when it comes to the heliocentric model and all that stuff, and then you can't always put it into a video. It takes a lot of time and effort to do it, just to get a small point across, doesn't it? So, fair shout to anyone.
I changed this video 3 times, the layout, because each time something new came up. One point I hope you can hear. So Isaac Newton, right, his main Principia, which is in Latin. But fortunately, I found an English version. And it looks like Isaac Newton never heard of Aristophanes.
Oh, really?
Because his value, this is the sort of thing that is interesting when you do research in other areas. Because he used a value of the Earth of 60 miles per degree.
Right.
And at that time, there was no nautical miles. It was the standard mile.
Right.
And so their circumference for the Earth, 21,600 miles, not your 23 whatever blah 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 miles today,
right.
Which is what Aristophanes measured 400 BC.
Okay.
So that was interesting. Isaac Newton's, it was in his beginning part of the book where he was saying that this is the figure used by all the admirals and seafarers of today, and that I found interesting.
Right.
One
Yeah.
other very interesting point, while maybe you can hear me, in 1960, 1970,
Uh-huh.
Apollo were doing their orbits around the moon, and their figure, according to AI on the internet, that they thought the mass of the moon was 1/50th of the Earth.
Uh-huh.
Where today's figure, only 60, 70 years later, is 81 times, uh, the Earth is 81 times bigger. So if you take how the Apollo missions were orbiting the moon, surely they were using the gravitational pull around the moon. How could they be so off from 40 times bigger than the Earth? The Earth is 40 times bigger than the moon, to today's figure, which is supposedly correct, 81 times. This was Apollo going
Right.
around, Apollo 7, Apollo 8, Apollo 9, before they actually start landing on the moon. It's like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it just goes to show that if you just use a bit of discernment and do like you've done your investigative reporting, then yeah, you find out that things just don't match up. So you're saying that earlier you just said that when Newton was writing about his stuff, there was never any reference to Eratosthenes or anything like that. He hadn't heard of him, yeah?
Well, what the figure he used was, he said at the beginning of the book, his circumference for the Earth was based on the general accepted measurements by all seafarers at the
Ah,
time, so we're
right,
talking the 1600s, of 60 miles per
right.
degree, which came out to 216, always a nice number,
Hmm.
21,600 miles for the circumference. But you listen to, the Globers, they're saying Aristophanes got within a few hundred miles, measuring between Syene and Alexandria,
Right.
23,000 miles. So wait a minute, what happened in that 2,000 years between Aristophanes and Sir Isaac Newton and all the apples in the oceans?
Right.
They've gone back to 60 degrees per degree. Sorry, 60 miles per degree.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, yeah, the physics. Yeah, they should have crashed or just got lost in space or whatever. Yeah, the whole slingshot idea is mental, really, when you think about it. Totally mental. Yeah. Um, how long have you
It
been
was
looking in? How long have you been looking into this?
since March, so about 9, 10 months,
Oh,
I've been
really?
doing some research.
So what got you?
And
Sorry, go on.
no, no, you go on. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I'm curious how you got into this. What's your journey been like? And if I mean, did it really start just 10 months ago, or something kick it off before then, or what kind of got you in deep?
Oh no, I've been into flat Earth for like since 2016. I've followed all your guys. I've just been one of the quiet ones in the background.
Okay.
Um,
Suppressed in China.
you could say that. Great time to discover flat Earth. But no, it was just this realization that I'd heard this like flippant comment on Twitter, and Simon and Dan jumped in and corrected me on my figure.
Okay.
And it just hit me, just like what you said earlier about, when somebody says something about the horizon, you're just, wait a minute, that's just it. It's like that just doesn't work on the
I,
globe.
I see.
And when Simon and Dan said, well, the sun is 2.1 times stronger gravitational pull than the Earth. So if the moon orbited like tangentially, if you understand what I mean, to the sun,
Right.
sort of going north-south, if you like, round the Earth, then you could sort of say, all right, maybe the Earth holds it there. But when the moon, we know, goes away from the sun by using their figures, 238,000 miles, and then go towards the sun by 238,000 miles. What makes it go away from the sun? What forces are pulling it away from the sun when the sun is pulling twice as much on the moon as the Earth? And that just hit me. And when I did research, I found a lot of university graduates and that asking the same question, not even flat earthers, but they were saying, can someone explain this to me because the physics doesn't work?
Gotcha. Yeah, that's really interesting. And but yeah, then you took it that step further, and I suppose some people would just kind of maybe drop it or whatever, or they're given an explanation which they kind of go with. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson says something that just kind of throws you off track. But yeah.
What they hide it with is what's called the restricted free body problem. And when you look into it, and my video covers it a little bit, the three body problem, saying that three masses cannot find a stable gravitational periodic orbit or movement. They basically create chaos and crash. Two bodies, not a problem. So if the third body is negligible mass, then it becomes basically a two-body situation. And this is how they've hidden this. And every time I watch a video, they keep saying, well, the moon's negligible mass. No, it's not. You know, it's a pretty big lump of rock in your, paradigm. And it moves the Earth off its center by 3,000 miles, according to your figures. That's not like a satellite or a space shuttle or the ISS that has no effect on the Earth. So this is where I found, that they're hiding this. And I've never seen a flat earther hold any of the globers feet to the fire on this three-body problem. And I'm like, oh, are we missing this thing? There's one of these debates that they start, raising, and it's like, well, wait a minute, you can't answer this question. We can't answer many questions. Like you said, Nick, we're just observing. We don't try to prove anything. And they keep saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this. And it's just nice to have that little thing in your pocket. You go, okay, well, then you explain this one. And that's where I came up with this.
Brilliant. All right, well, let's just, make sure you go over and check that out then, everyone. Sherlock's Assistant channel. That's great. That's really fantastic. It's really interesting to know what prompted you. And yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because you do get, like you say, all these little issues come up, and it's kind of they'll which actually destroys the whole narrative, because if there's one thing that doesn't work, then you should throw the whole lot out. But they'll never do that. Well, they might. It might take a few hundred years.
Gravity is one of their saving graces, isn't it? It's why water sticks to a ball, gravity. Why does there air pressure next to a vacuum? Or gravity. And it's like, well, you show gravity having a problem, then these other, proofs that they've got also have a problem.
Yeah, this is it. So have you kind of, I mean, I don't expect you to have any kind of, like you said, we're just in kind of investigating it, but I mean, has that made you reach any other conclusions yourself, or is it totally open?
Well, I basically said that as to date, And I have studied all the scientists, all the major scientists, from Isaac Newton, um, Lagrange, Cavendish, to William Hill and his Hill sphere, and others in between. And basically, every time I saw them writing letters and producing documents, all that they were really doing was actually being able to write numerical equations to work out where the moon would actually be at any given time. So they had moon tables for, maritime navigation. But in my video, I also came across that in those last 500 years, one, they didn't know the mass of the sun. Two, they didn't know the mass of the earth. Three, they didn't know the mass of the moon. So how they were calculating it using Newton's gravitation, let me correct, universal gravitational equation is impossible. Even up to the last 50, 60 years, NASA themselves didn't know the mass of the moon. I was like, really? They sent, Apollo 11 somehow in 1969 to the moon, and they didn't know the mass of the moon to work out the gravitational attraction. So how did they know how they were going to land? It was just like a can of worms I opened up.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, that was a major, that's the thing, it is a major claim that they made, that they, of course, for a lot of people, it was a sign that they'd done the science. I suppose if the moon landings had never happened, then we probably wouldn't have so many people believing in the whole heliocentric narrative. It really was a catalyst, I suppose, in a way. It's just like all these major events. If you look into them deeply enough, then you start to see all the holes in it. So yeah, I think that's a really important part of it. And I suppose we all do it, and we've all done it. It's like, yeah, you look at the heliocentric model, you look at what we're being told, you look at reality, and like you've done, you've looked at the different answers they've had throughout time, and yeah, they just don't add up. Yeah. I've got a comment here from Mighty Atom. He says the third body problem, where computer programs data cannot process the movement orbit of three bodies without disastrous results, collisions of bodies. That kind of, I think that nicely summarised what you said there as well, Sherlock's apprentice. Yeah.
Exactly. It's exactly what I found. And I look. They're trying to tell us that, for thousands or millions of years, the Earth has gone round the sun and the moon's orbited it, and with no problems. And then they make me laugh. There's been one or two globers I've discussed this with, and they say, but the moon is moving away from the Earth a few centimeters a year. Face, on forehead, palm, it's just hilarious. But we know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, you're right. It's just, again, just stories based on, their calculations and their models, but nothing that they could ever actually measure or prove. Yeah. I mean, can I ask you, as a rule, do the Chinese, well, I suppose I'm assuming that most modern people, no matter where they live, have now adopted the globe heliocentric narrative. Do you know if they are teaching it in school? Is it like, is the globe prevalent on the TV and in education?
Oh, definitely. Just the same as any other education, brainwashing, there's no different. I was blessed that my Chinese wife, when I first put this to her, she was very open-minded, listened to what I said and go, yeah, that makes sense. And she accepts the earth flat.
Oh, brilliant.
Um,
Yeah,
I
brilliant.
have, yeah, um, my own parents, my elder children in England struggle with it. So it just shows how the indoctrination, can be stronger in certain places. Um, but I've never tried to talk to anyone here in China. I don't want to rock any unnecessary boats, as you can probably imagine. Being an Englishman in China, it's not healthy. So if people ask me questions, I just put questions back. What have you thought about this? And just leave it there. But yeah, I don't try doing any, investigative work in flat earth here, but for sure the globe is just automatically taught. Fortunately, I've got a couple of English friends also live in China that I met through YouTube and flat earth. Um, at least I've got a few friends in China that are in the same boat. Can't really talk outside, but between us we can.
Interesting. Yeah, nice. That's great to know. Um, Damn, you made me think of something, and now I've forgotten what I was gonna say because the chat's streaming by as well. But have you? So I was going to say, have you lost friends over it? Is it? But I think it sounds like no. Sorry, what I was going to ask you has being in China, being in a different culture. Do you think that helped develop this discernment and the ability to, understand? Obviously, that China is a very different culture, so you've had to adapt, right? There was probably this phase where it was a struggle, but then you got used to it and you accepted it, and it's kind of normal now, right?
Yes, but I was already living, well, commuting really in Hong Kong for nearly 20 years. And even then, when I was in Hong Kong, going into the mainland, on and off, so I got to understand China quite early on before making the full plunge to live here. Um, when we had the opportunity, we had three places to choose to live. England, obviously I'm British, I can live in England, move my family to England. I am also a permanent resident of Hong Kong. I could have moved to Hong Kong or stay in China. And I actually could see the way the world was going, uh, even 8, 9 years ago with England and Hong Kong. And suddenly China didn't look such a difficult decision. And I think I honestly made the right decision and keeping my family here. And yes, there are difficulties living in China, but then, I look at the cost of living in Hong Kong and even the cost of living in the UK now. And yeah, it was quite an easy decision in the end. Um, Regarding my, you know, it- thinking and that, I was already a conspiracy theorist with 9/11. Even when I was living in England, that was where I was starting to wake up. Um, and yeah, it then grew from there. Flat Earth was one that I looked at like everybody else. Oh, you got to be kidding me! That's a joke, you know. And it keeps popping up, and then you go, okay, I'm going to debunk this, and you don't, do you? And when you don't, you go, oh, holy SH1T. And then it opens your mind to the rest of everything. And yeah, thankfully, with VPNs, I can still access information.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I can. I know what you're coming. I mean, obviously, with countries, in some ways, when countries they've got to do things to maintain their sovereignty, and you can understand it a lot of the time. I mean, yeah, when I look at what has happened in the UK, recently. I mean, obviously the people that are in charge, as it were, they're not doing anything. They're you know, they've been co-opted by their controllers, and those controllers, their only aim is to destroy nations. And so, yeah, a lot of the Asian nations, from their previous experience with the empire, understand that they need to be very, very careful about who they let in and what they allow their population to be exposed to, so that things don't get out of control and they maintain some sense of their whatever it is, their traditions, their past, their everything that makes them who they are and what they are. So you kind of you learn to appreciate that, don't you? When you see it from inside another country.
100%, totally. I think that's why I've managed to settle here very easily, because I see where they're coming from. And if I get on with my life, don't rock the boat, and understand why the CCP and why they've had to uh, people forget. China's got what, 1.5 billion people. England's got what, 70 million. It's two totally different ball games how you control those numbers. And I'm a teacher, and sometimes trying to control a class of 20 students is just impossible. So it's easy to stand back and, oh, you should do this, or that's not the right way, and it's like, yeah, it's easy standing outside and criticizing.
Definitely, yeah. In fact, I mean, China's got this wild history. I mean, it's a massive landmass anyway. It's got a wild history. I mean, I remember hearing a story when I was back in the backpacker days. We're talking, 30 plus years ago, when I was in Bangkok, and I had a chat with this guy who like just made his way around China. I'm not sure exactly where, but then he was in this little place in this village, and he kept going to this antique shop, and there was a particular statue that he really wanted. Of course, they'd had their Cultural Revolution already, hadn't they, where a lot of the artifacts and the old culture had been destroyed, as bourgeois, yeah. So, but this guy, he said he went over a period of several weeks, kept going to this shop, and gradually brought the price down for this statue, which was basically as big as his backpack. And he eventually got it. He managed to get it out of the country. He just surrounded it with his newspaper and clothes and whatever. And he said when he went to customs or whatever it was, they kind of gave his bag a prod but didn't investigate, and he got it back to the UK. And then he had it evaluated, and it was, I can't remember the price he told me, but it was several £1,000s in value, this thing that he'd picked up for whatever. I don't know what the price was that he paid for it, but it was obviously a fraction. But yeah, sorry. I mean, it's just, you just reminded me of that story. So yeah, it's fantastic when you do, you get out of your comfort zone, you explore, you try new things. That's life. That's living it, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Just having an adventure when people are trying to tell you, and we've had it, we've all had it. I'm sure there were people that are saying, don't go to China, it's they're like this, they're like that, you can't go over there, you'll never. Yeah, you probably had a lot of detractors telling you couldn't or shouldn't make some of the decisions you made in your life, right?
Oh, certainly. My own parents, for one, and I understand why. And it's this propaganda again. The propaganda works both sides. I remember watching, BBC articles about how, bad China is. And it's like, okay, don't get me wrong, there are issues, but on a day-to-day basis, living here, the police don't bother me. They know where I am. I've registered I live here. Here's my documentation. I've got my visas and everything. Tick the boxes, registered, yeah, home address, etc. And they leave me well alone. And then on a day-to-day basis, I go up to restaurants. The Chinese people want to drink with you. They want to say hello. They're fabulous people, And this is the thing is, unfortunately, countries get judged on their governments, not their people. And I see that in every country. And I think actually, if we judge, countries on their people, generally everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to get on. I'm sure there's some countries that have prejudices against others, but that's brainwashing. We all know that. But every time I go to a restaurant, and these little restaurants, tiny little back street places, and almost immediately the table next door to me, if there's a couple of old gentlemen, they'll see me and they'll pour a glass and say, "Please, drink with me." And they're saying welcome, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, that's it. You're right. It's the people. It's like Thailand as well. The people are great. The culture is fantastic. Apart from there are obviously things that bother me to this day, but the bureaucracy and the government is a totally different animal. And like yourself, I have to register and I have to have the visas, and it's a pain. It's expensive, but again, I understand it because they've got to be careful. It's just like you wouldn't let anyone in your front door, would you? Okay. So that's fantastic. We're still having major problems with the sound. I can just about make it out, but I think it's kind of people are struggling to hear what you're saying. I'll just explain to people. Think it's a mic problem, but I did see that you had a good mic there. I think it's probably just the fact that you're trying to talk from China. That's probably the main problem. Yeah.
I think it's going to be my bandwidth. Yes, I've got a decent mic, which I bought for videos, which when I do the videos, there's no problem. This is the first time I've ever tried anything like this, Nick. You're my guinea pig. So I apologize to everyone for the audio. I think it's a good idea. Leave it there. I just wanted to make those points for people, for something for them to maybe look into. But yeah, it's been great chatting to you, Nick. I've followed you for many, many years. And thanks for having a chat with me, mate.
Oh, well, I really appreciate that you took the time to, and you jumped through a lot of hoops to get. Is it possible do you mind sharing your first name or a nickname or something?
No, Mike. On my videos, I always say Sherlock's Apprentice, aka Mike. I don't mind people calling me Mike. Whatever. Obviously, that's short for Michael.
Right.
But I'm Mike. Yeah.
Okay.
Sherlock's Apprentice is a long name.
Brilliant, Mike. I really appreciate it. It's fantastic. I'm David Banner. What I'm doing is I'm turning my mic volume up and down so that it, to try and get this. It's kind of like I'm turning knobs and all sorts here. So, Mike, thanks so much for coming in. And please go. When you get back in to the chat, if you're able to, drop a link again to your channel. I've already dropped it in a couple of times to that particular video, but please feel free to do that. And
okay, I will do that. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
And it would be great to stay in touch by email or something like that. My email's on my channel somewhere on the about section or something like that.
Same with me. I've got a Proton Mail. I think it's Sherlock's Apprentice at Proton Mail. Very simple, but I'm the same as you. I put it on the about if people ever want to send an email.
Great.
yeah, I for sure will. I'll contact you.
Fantastic, fantastic. You know, it's great. There's flat earthers all over the globe.
All over the ball, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh, brilliant.
Freudian slip we all fall into.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. So yeah, let's try and do this again. And if we can get a better connection, that would be fantastic. Because I think you've obviously got a lot more to say that you've thought about. So great. Well, thanks for trying it out and being and letting me be your guinea pig.
Okay. I shall join you in the chat as soon as I disconnect.
Sweet. And drop your link in there. All right. Speak to you soon, man.
I will
All
do.
right. Okay.
Okay.
Cheers.
All right, mate. Bye for now.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Apologies for the audio there. The best way I could do it was try and turn my mic down when Mike was talking, and then hopefully that did it. So, yeah. Fantastic. If anyone wants to come in, please do. Let me share the link again in the chat. That's for the Google Meet. I saw a couple of... Mighty Atom said he's got to go. Okay, mate. Lev Kung Fu, hello there. Yeah, FPV Angel, hello. Yeah, a good video that you put out today. You know, you put a lot of work into your videos, FPV. Always good food for thought. And you know, you take me places I've never been before. So, yeah. Earthship Bear. Hello. We are in a contained system, the orientation of which proves that we are in a constant motion. Yeah, all right. Whatever. Right then. Dorian Gray. Kettle broke. Yeah. I don't know. V. Thomas says it's not worth having a model. It's not worth the abuse. I don't know how footballers deal with it. Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, they say, oh, you're invested in a model. And it's like, well, no, you're the guys invested in the model. You're the guys with all these predictions and stuff. Let me just get up the... this one again. Let me get up this one. Yeah. Hang on a second. Just put the browser back up. There we go. Boom. You know, we're given this kind of tosh about the seasons. You know, you go and look it up. And it's funny because there we are arguing about models and reality, and we're asking for a simple measure of the curvature that is predictable on a globe, on the surface of the Earth. You know, let's say 7 meters drop over 10 kilometers should be one of the easiest things in the world to measure. But no, all you'll ever get is explanations. Yeah. And just this, again, just stating things like they're fact. It's like this, it's like that. Well, yeah, again, you've got to just keep in mind that they're always talking about a model. They are not talking about reality. They're talking about their model. Yeah, okay, FPV Angel. Cool, yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, obviously we've all got things to do. We've got to... It's funny, the other day I don't know, someone came in, left a comment and said, how much money do you make off YouTube? So actually, I know that I just made $100 over the past 12 months. The last payment I ever got was November last year. And I've just received the other day $100. So that's a whole year of YouTube videos, and I got $100. Yeah. Which, you know, so I said to this guy, I just gave him an honest answer. I said, last time I checked, I had $100 over the year. And then and I said, I don't really do this for money. I monetize my channel because if I don't, other ISPs will monetize the content anyway. So you even if I don't monetize, you might end up getting an ad or two because your ISP has monetized the content itself. Yeah. So I just gave an honest answer, and then he came back to me, "Oh, you're a load of bollocks. You know, you're a grifter." So it's just, and to me, it's just like, yeah, well, that just demonstrates to me that, you know, you come with the presuppositions. You didn't come to listen. You ask a question, and you don't open your ears to listen to the answer, and can't accept the answer because it goes against goes against your preconceptions. Yeah, Chilster, you get 4 seasons in a day. Yeah. So I wanted to just, you know, like it's interesting, isn't it? Like Mike was saying just now, where, you know, you look at this thing with the 3-body problem, you know, the sun and the globe and the moon, and they have to make up. They actually tell you that, okay, so this is the thing, isn't it? We see just as this whole thing about perception. We see the sun and the moon traverse the sky every day. Yeah, but we're told to perceive it in this other way, where the moon goes around the Earth once a month, and it's sidereal rotation or whatever, and then they say it's rotating at the same time, so that you only see one side, and all this stuff, which is just explanations for their preconceived model, not fact at all, ever. You know. Just consensus, and we, as Mike was saying just now, we all know about manufactured consensus, and it's interesting to talk to someone, you know, that's gone to another culture and adapted. That's the thing, you know, people that can't adapt to another culture won't last. They'll end up going home, packing it in, getting all frustrated, when they could have decided, okay, I'm just gonna have to change my mind here, or my outlook, because my old outlook doesn't work. Doesn't mean you have to travel to another country for that to happen, but it helps. So Sherlock's back in. This was a comment from a Globers on my video. You couldn't find an equation to explain the fact, so what? How can you argue with it? Right. Yeah, they want you to come up with the equations and all that as well. So yeah, if you can't explain it mathematically, then you've got nothing, kind of thing. Yeah. The Bristolian, you tried being 93 million miles away and pleasing everyone. Chilster Deluxe, 100 was all right to have in You Are Pooch, now it's a pittance. Yeah, it really doesn't go very far. Yeah, it's not, you know, not something, doesn't pay the rent, yeah, which I'm struggling to pay right now. So if anyone wants to make a donation, go ahead. There's a PayPal link there. Yeah, or you can sign up for the Patreon. But yeah, I mean, you know, this isn't, I don't see this, this is a passion. This is a passion to share, and a passion to, oh, have I frozen? Ah, my camera's frozen. Okay, hang on a second. Are we back on? All right, sorry about that. Yeah. Tony Whitcomb, been an even worse year for Globe Earth believers. Yeah, they're finally having to admit that they can't measure curvature. I love it. Sherlock's Apprentice says, that's a very good point. Maybe because you and me are open-minded, we accepted living in an Asian country where that... Oh, well, I wouldn't say it was without difficulty. It was certainly part of the process, yeah, you know. I mean, I think that's something I recognised in myself, is that, you know, you go to another place, you think you've got an open mind, but you still get affronted by all these things, you know, so... Yeah. Oh, thank you, Chilster. That's very kind of you, man. Okay, nice one. Thank you. I can give that a like. Okay, so Chilster's super chatted a £5 there. Thank you very much indeed. Much appreciated. Yeah. Yeah. the work, sorry, getting into a new culture is challenging for sure. Yeah. What's that? Okay, Kim. Oh, hello, Kim. I saw you come into the chat earlier on. Hang on a minute. V. Thomas says the attempt to direct measure curvature. Oh, that's going to happen because there's lots and lots of cash to be made doing that. Right. Kim Dawes. I remember watching a video that Donald Trump was in his plane and said the Earth was flat. He flew so much that he knew. That was before 2016. Interesting. I didn't know. All right. Okay. Oh, Zeus Scott. Well, thank you, man. No, it's time is precious, and that's all we got, really, isn't it? But I really, what's really kind of, we're all on this journey, and is somebody trying to? Oh, okay, am I still there? Stay in the call. Okay, no. I lost my train of thought there. Oh man. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony, for a £20 super chat there. Much, much appreciated. Tony Whitcomb. Keep smacking it. Will do, man. Smack that globe. Much appreciated. That is very encouraging. Thank you. I mean, it is a labour of love. Yeah. And, obviously you see a lot of people kind of on the Globe Earth side just having invested in this, as a way of making money. It's like, it's a shame that the only way to do it is to kind of take the piss out of other people. Yeah. I wouldn't be happy doing that. Yeah. So, but you understand where they're coming from. They're not, and this is the thing, we are surrounded by people who this kind of subject they couldn't care less about. It's not on their radar. It's not part of what they care about, but we know that people as a rule tend to be good. What's that, Tony? What are you doing? Is that another 20? I mean the mosquitoes. Oh, okay. Oh, keep smacking it. Keep smacking the mosquitoes, not the okay. Oh, thank you, Tony. That's really kind of you. All right. I'm going to give that a like as well. Yeah. Oh, much appreciated. Yeah. But it is important, isn't it? Yeah, this is it. It's just about, again, what we're trying to convince. We're not trying to convince people of anything apart from that they should think about what we've been told and what you perceive reality as. Yeah. And we all know that reality is often entirely subjective. Yeah. And yeah, why should we be coming up with other models? Yeah, they've created this false dichotomy, and really just try and, it's about the only way that they can try and say, make a point is by saying, well, if we use this map, we say that's your model, then we win some points. And again, there's this whole mindset of it being a contest is, you should be away from that, So, yeah, I really wanted to do a kind of have a discussion about the whole fear thing and how much that affects us. And how much it really taps into our survival instincts, doesn't it? And keeps us, yeah. But yeah, apart from that, I mean, we're often dealing with people that it's not. They're not interested in truth. You meet people all the time that are they're only interested in their own kind of psychopathic image, yeah. And this is about, when you're on your truth-seeking journey, you start to realize that there's a separation between your identity and the real you, your spirit, your essence, or whatever. Yeah, you realize that your name, or the birth certificate name, the straw man, you know, the degrees you might have or the lapels you might wear. These are all part of what make an identity, and you see that people, of course, identify with certain things. And yeah, this is all about, you know, not succumbing to that identity crisis. Yeah. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, the suit tear. Yeah, thanks. Well, oh, well, thank you, David. That's very kind of you, man. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, honesty is the best policy. I mean, really, you know, in business as well, in all the work I do, it's just like, I'm just honest, you know. I mean, it's just the best way. You don't, because then you don't have to have, you know, when you try and bullshit your way through life, you've got to have a good memory. But then, you know, when you've got those kind of, if you're a bit of a psycho, you don't care. It doesn't bother you. There's that, you know, you don't have that feeling. But that's the thing. I think a lot of the time, you know, the Globe believers, and of course we know that that's just people in general because of what we've been taught. But, you know, a lot of the time they're just nice people. And the thing is, they can't perceive that people would pull off such a deception. And of course, then they come back with like, oh, well, everyone would have to be in on it, and that's impossible. Well, they're not in on it. That's the thing. They're all just towing the line. You know, all these people doing their compartmentalized jobs in NASA agencies, they're earning a living and they're worrying about taxes and inheritance and you know, whether there's going to be World War III, and it's all distractions. It's all going on. Yeah. So they're just not thinking about it, you know. So it's really important to give yourself the time to do that, the time and the space. And it is important to have people around you that support you as well. Yeah. Okay, Bristolian, you got to get going. All right. Maybe you, yeah, that's great. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's okay. Sort your stuff out, Leon. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Stuck in the mud, Zeus Scott says. Yeah. And that's no way to live, man. I mean, life's a bloody adventure, you know. It is a magical thing. And you know, this is it. When you let go, I mean, there's a lot of power in you know, ambition, positive thinking, what have you. You know, the intent. That's the word I'm looking for. Intent, right? You know. The thing is, intent can take you in a direction that you didn't necessarily think you were going to go in, but it always ends up teaching you something if you're able to have that kind of retrospective look. But yeah, I'd hate to think that, you know, we get old and kind of get stuck in our ways. That's the thing, isn't it? And it is interesting that a lot of us are around this kind of age, you know, whether, I mean, I don't know if there are many younger flat earthers, because a lot of people have been brought up in this age of just being able to Google things, you know, it's like anything when you do, you know, when I write, because my main kind of work is writing, which is sporadic, or editing, you know, and whether you're writing or editing, you've got to, you know, if you're going to cite, if you're going to mention something, you're going to state something as fact, you've got to back it up. You've got to have a bloody good reason. You know, every single word counts, yeah? You don't just say things, you know, but you'll notice that certain channels, when they take the piss out of the Flat Earth channels, they'll take the bit that they want, they don't analyse, you know, and they'll just say, no, you're wrong. It's like this. You're wrong. It's like that. Without any kind of evidence or anything. That's just opinion. They're not spitting facts. They're not doing research. Yeah. So this is the thing. If you're any kind of have any kind of scientific mind, and you can put aside those beliefs and presuppositions and concepts and everything, you can. You know, flat Earth is something. It shouldn't be a big deal, but it is a massive deal because of just how indoctrinated we are. Yeah. Zeus Scott experience is the boss. Absolutely, isn't it? Yeah, you're right, man. Okay. So I'm just trying to catch up with the chat there. Yeah. So this is fantastic. If I can try and do this a bit more regularly and get more people coming in and joining, it's always good to hear people's stories. Yeah. Chilster Deluxe, because everyone thinks it must be true. Yeah. I mean, but it's not just, the globe. It's everything. It's everything. Anyone, any kind of philosopher, if you go and listen to Krishnamurti, Alan Watts, Buddha, trying to think, there's a whole bunch, but they're all coming to, just by their own devices, they're all coming to the same conclusions. It does, you see it for what it is. You see that we've got this identity and and often an identity crisis. We've got the soul or the spirit, yeah. And maybe the whole point of the journey and the life experience is to realize that, because no one's telling you that. They're distracting you from that, from realizing that. Kim Dawes, I'm going to be 61. I've had years of glow birth. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, happy birthday for when you're 61. I bet you still feel 20. Christopher Wayne, just dropped in now. Buried here where I reside in Frederick, MD, small girth earth. Okay, hello. Oh, what's this? Sorry, I'm missing some chats here. Just a minute. The Sute. Yes, Nick, dangerous what people push with no facts. Very worrying about the younger generation. Can come across really. Yeah. You and you see it. If you just put flat Earth into YouTube, see the shorts that come up. They just repeating the same old stuff, the same old things. Yeah. Flatzoid, hello there. All right, yeah. Nice one, Kim. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's great. We're getting more exposure. More people are thinking about this whole thing, and yeah. Only need to worry about those with discernment. No point in wasting your time with people that are just kind of pushing these false dichotomies. Let them get on with it, and yeah, when they make arguments about maps and either pretend that they don't understand how maps work or think that they're telling people things that other people that don't understand how maps work. What's that, the Sute? I think it's awesome that a group of people can work something out with no facts. It's like magic. That's why I think they shut down social gatherings like pubs. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. If people, it's one of the tactics, isn't it? Separate them. Keep them isolated. Absolutely. Yeah. Because, you start gathering, then you start talking and you start sharing ideas. Yeah, that's all right, Flatside. It pushes it out there. And again, exposure is good. No news is bad news. Sherlock's Apprentice, hello again. For some reason, I can't see your email address on YouTube. Please email me so I have your... Oh, okay. Well, I'll put it in the chat. I don't mind. There you go, Nick at stretchoutmedia.com. Yeah. I'm drying up now. Yeah, and I've run out of tea, so might be a good time to call it a day. Yeah, loads of topics to talk about, so much to discuss. And yeah, thank you to the Globers. Thank you for keeping this alive. Thank you for getting it out there and getting more people interested. Yeah, it's great. So really appreciate all the good work you're doing. Yeah, it's funny because their intent what we're talking about. Intent is, divine intervention really helps here, because the Globers' intent is to shut down flat Earth or embarrass flat Earthers or group and say, you stupid flat Earthers, you're all in this group, But what they do is they just highlight the problem. They just highlight the problems that society has these days in the lack of discernment, yeah, or the way cults behave. So it's brilliant. Yeah, keep up the good work, guys. Just keep it going. Yeah. And it'll always be the same. This is it. It doesn't change. It's probably always been like this, where you have a certain percentage of the population that can kind of get it, that can see through it, and awaken. Yeah, and it's a fantastic thing. And that's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to share. We're just trying to share this thrilling feeling of lifting the veil. Yeah. It's fantastic. That's all we want to do. We want to share the good vibes. We want to share the liberation. Get you out of Plato's cave. Yeah. But no, that was kind of, I must admit I was naive in that respect when I got into this in 2015, 16, whenever it was. And then started to do my own videos, just looking at horizons and trying to just explain that, look, when you look at a horizon and it rises with you, that's, it shows that horizons aren't curvature. So, hey, but you immediately got people attacking you. Yeah, I remember this guy called Fived Pairs. I think he was a maths teacher. You never saw his face, but you just saw his chubby little fingers on a camera. And he was a bit OCD maybe, because he drew these very perfect circles and he knew his geometry. But that was his way of proving, that was his proof. The geometry on paper is my proof that we live on a globe. And it was a great introduction because, he had so much hate in him. But what was he hating on? He was hating on this. Well, I suppose it was upsetting the perfect projection that a circle of geometry could create. Excuse me. Have I got... Hang on, just see if I got some water. Just a second, guys. Oh! Yes, I have an emergency supply of water. Brilliant. Excuse me. All right, fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the music, all that stuff. We see these things happening, getting taken over. And it is sad, it is sad. Because I was in the UK during the lockdown and it's kind of sad. It's frustrating and sad because you've got all these people that just, they've gone nuts. They've gone out of their mind. Yeah. And they're coming up with like inventive ways to enslave themselves. Tony Dixon, hello. Oh, what's that? Snaggletooth? It's like Thailand here in Bristol. Very wet but strangely warm. Okay. Yeah, I do miss it. I really want to, I kind of got this plan to get back to the UK eventually. I don't know though. I don't know. But even though it's bad, I think it's important for my kids to experience it. Yeah. To have some time there. But, yeah. We'll see. I might have to go there alone for a bit, get some work. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to know what to do. But at the same time, just kind of letting the universe show me the way. Yeah. So yeah, this is, I mean, to me, that's what's most important, is just the kind of, learning to break free. Oh, you don't miss the UK Sherlock's Apprentice? It's that bad for you? Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. No, it is tough. It is tough to go and readapt. I know, like you said, yeah, I mean, ideally, you have this situation where you can go back and forth, yeah, but that obviously costs money. Yeah, David. I mean, yeah, it would be like an amusement park for them. That's true, snow. Yeah, well, of course, I'd love them to see the snow. That'd be fun. Well, of course, we all think back. I think back to my childhood, which was back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, it was pretty good. We out on the bikes, sledging, whatever, letting off fireworks, silly stuff, going camping, bike rides, that kind of thing. Yeah, camping. It's just not so easily done here. It's weird, although it's tropical. It's just, it's kind of, you'd think that going out and camping would be really cool and fun and stuff, but yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, we live a kind of outdoor lifestyle in Thailand. Obviously, the kitchen is outdoors, for example. Yeah, you just open up the doors and you wander in and out of the house without having to worry about what you're going to wear. Yeah, but well, what David Banner? I know. Yeah, you say it's not good, but you know what I kind of think though, David. I mean, to be honest, I'd love to go back and be involved, because surely there's a lot of people in the UK that are awake, and it's kind of what's happening with the farmers is good as well. I think the UK could potentially go back to being kind of very localized, because there is strength, there is a lot to say about the system is kind of there to be used. And if people use it properly, you can create a very, the council can be prosperous, the community can be prosperous. And if if people just went back to how it was when we were kids, I remember I used to go to the shops with my mum, and it would be the shops. It wouldn't be a shop. It would be like, walk to town with the little trolley thing, and you go to the sweet shop, and you go to the grocers, and you go to the butchers, and and there were whatever. The hardware shop or whatever, the ironmongers, yeah? That's fantastic. But slowly but surely that kind of was eroded. Yeah, I remember the first hypermarket was Carrefour came along, and you'd have to get on the motorway to go to Carrefour. And kind of, we tried it out, it was kind of cool. But, yeah. I think I'd like to go back to the UK and be involved in that kind of progress to go back to how it was, like over here, for example, these markets pop up where someone has a piece of land, or maybe they rent the piece of land, but then it's a very simple setup where they put some kind of corrugated roof with a few posts, a very kind of open air thing, and then they put all these market stalls there, and then so the market people, they come along and they'll rent out the space for a couple of $100 per night or whatever it is, and they sell their stuff. And so you've got all these people making a living from. They might have a day job, but then they come and sell their stuff at the market in the evening, or they might dedicate their whole time to doing that. But they've got a place to sell, and they've got people that can come and buy. What's that? Zeus got TF for smoke alarms. Not sure what you mean there. The good old days, yeah. David Banner, he says the community feeling has been destroyed. Yeah, I can imagine that, but is it possible to bring it back? If there are enough people, you look at Richard Vobes, he's very much into this now on his channel. I mean, he's really taken that direction, and he's that you've got the farmers. This is what I think. In many ways, whatever's happening to the farmers, if they just change their mindset and redirected it back to the local community, rather, because their focus, the farmers' focus, is on the retailers, yeah, the big the supermarkets and stuff, which are just crushing them, yeah. But if they just said no, right now we're gonna open up farm shops, or yeah, I mean personally, I'd love to operate a farm shop where, you know, you set up a shop, and you could even be going round to the farms collecting their things from them, their eggs or whatever it is, and you're putting their stuff in a central location, or they're bringing their stuff to you. Love farm shops because they smell great. You got all sorts. It's just healthy food. You know, you pay a bit more, but you just eat better. You know, so I don't know, David. I'm kind of like, you know, speaking generally, but what do you think, David? I mean, you know, you've got a nice community on your channel there, and I've got a lovely bunch of community here. It's nice, and there's a crossover as well. But I mean, can we localize things again? Surely, you know, people are more aware about health. People are more aware of, you know, of all the other problems that are involved with just being part of the matrix. I mean, are people not ready now to go back to how it was and be closer to that kind of living? I mean, yeah. Let's have a look. Just see if I can. Oh, China blocked you again. Yeah, Sherlock. The Sherlock's Apprentice. The fresh fruit markets in China are brilliant, just like the UK about 40 years. Exactly. It wasn't that long ago. I think we could bring it back. I think there's hope. You know. Yeah. And I mean, you know, because we got this kind of culture in England where you have the lawn, you know, and people mow their lawn. I wouldn't be mowing my lawn. I'd be out letting the grass grow, letting the flowers grow, and letting all the fruits and vegetables grow. That's what a garden should be. Yeah, but then I suppose, you know, a manicured lawn was symbolic of, you know, because that came from these kind of, you know, back in the days of aristocracy. You know, they would have their gardens manicured, and it was all about kind of trying to giving architecture to the gardens. Whereas the English country, yeah, see apparently, I was researching this the other day, these kind of estate gardens, for a long while when the Normans had their influence, then the kind of big estate gardens were like very architectural. They were very symmetrical. But the English country garden was more like whatever grows will grow here and there. You know, it was more haphazard, yeah, and more akin to, you know, nature. What's that, Snaggle? Toothproof? No, all generations below ours are lost. Chilster, too diluted now. David Banner. I remember them times you're talking about, Nick, the local greengrocer's fresh meat shop, and they were all very communal. Everyone knew each other, said hello. I don't know if it can be brought back, though, a lot. You mean a lot of things would have to change, David? Yeah, I agree. I can see that. But, you know, it's just like the Globers are now exposing, they're helping bring more recognition to Flat Earth. You know, what's happening with government mandates and things like that. People are being forced to think about alternatives. Yeah. And, you know, it would take a lot of effort, but so does anything. So does any change. Yeah. But, you know, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool to make that happen again? Bring it back to how it was? You know, then people wouldn't have to be commuting to you know, you just got to get other people kind of into the groove. Yeah. Like, yeah, you can do your own thing. What are you good at? Do that. You make nice postcards, sell those. Oh, you make toffee apples, sell those. Oh, you've got a plum tree, sell those. Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, it was lost in what, like you say, David, 30 years. So it might take 60 years to bring it back. But we can't give up on this stuff. Just like we don't give up on you know, trying to help wake people up. Snaggletooth proof. Depressing, I know, but 20-somethings have been brought up on social media as we were on Hollywood. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point, but I think, I think another thing is that, yeah, even though people have been brought up on it, it's just like, and surely, when you find yourself scrolling or whatever through social media, but you get tired of it, there's a point where it's just like, oh, it's overload, and you want to get away from it, yeah? And that might take a while, but, because for example, people get wealthy, people get status, right? And they work really hard to get there, but they then, it's only then that they realize that, oh, I'm not as fulfilled as I thought I would be. What's this success thing all about? Okay, I've got the house, I've got the wife, I've got the car, I've got, but something's missing, something ain't right. And there's, a lot of us are here now because we were disillusioned, and we carried on searching. So I think that's that's an innate human thing. Yeah, there's definitely a danger that we just kind of become complete slobs. And in a way, we do have a responsibility. We're like the last generation before the internet, right? So we do have a bit of a responsibility, I feel, to just kind of, keep that alive in some sense, yeah? Sherlock's Apprentice, do you think Jeremy Clarkson is genuine farmer? Well, yeah, I mean, in a way, maybe it was, it's like many of us. I mean, I'd like to think that one day I could be in a position like that where I'm doing something more on the land, but first I got to earn the money to do that. He's maybe in a bit of a unique position, but because he's kind of got that wealth and notoriety already, the fame. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's more about branding. Let's go for a business. I can make a brand out of this. But so he probably doesn't. That's good. In a way, it's good that they have a spokesman, but it's not necessarily the best spokesman they could have. Trinity, hello, mate. Did I see you come in? Yes, I did. Liberation, yes. But it's like all these people, I take them on whether you're going to debate whether Trump or this person or that person is good or bad. You can see them for what they are. They're people. They're all just people, and we've all got some kind of element of psychopathy in us. Maybe a lot, maybe a little. There's always something, yeah. There's always, but it's a case of, do you reflect? Do you catch yourself? And even if you might have thought something or believed something or behaved in a certain way before, hopefully you've changed, whether it's a week or a year or 10 years later. I mean, gosh, don't you, the older you get, don't you look back and you think, oh my God, I was an idiot there. I shouldn't have said that. I wish I hadn't said that. What if I'd done this? Would it, sure, we've all got regrets. But the cool thing is that if you're in a position where you can look back on that and reflect on it and okay, I won't do that again because I hurt people or I hurt myself, then that's it. That's the name of the game. If you can't or you won't adapt or grow, then that's your karma, mate. You're stuck with it. Like someone, I think it was Chilster, you said, stuck in the mud, right? Yeah. It's a shame. It's just a shame, because if there are, the only reason I can see for being here is like, yeah, okay, we create a mess, we create beautiful things, we destroy, we do all these things, for what purpose? Well, there's got to be some kind of purpose to it, and just to learn. Maybe it's the school of life. What's that, Snaggletooth? My daughter and her boyfriend. Now the Earth is Is that your turn? The Earth is flat. Then shrug, call an Uber and go out to eat. Whatever. while when we were young we walked every. Yeah, I've never called an Uber. Yeah, I suppose the technology gets very comfortable. Yeah, I mean a lot of us, when the internet first came along and there were browser wars and all this kind of stuff, it took a while for things to actually connect. Now look at us. Yeah, thank you, Trinity. Staying strong, yeah, and stronger and stronger. Yeah, because I love it, because the anti-flat earthers, they're just they're keeping it all going. They're keeping the fire burning. What's that, Trinity, for? Bifurcation. It is written, technocrats versus naturists. Yeah. What's that, David? We don't even have a market anymore, Sherlock. They took away that and just left an empty square where all the drunkards go. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, when people don't have much to do, then that's bad. Yeah. But I saw that during the lockdowns. It's like all of a sudden people were off work and they were just hanging around, just drinking. And it didn't, for a lot of people, I mean, for me, it was like, oh my God, this is it. We should have been prepping. We should have, we got to start, we got to, blah, blah, blah. But for a lot of people, it's like, oh, I got time off work. Got, what's it called? What's that word? You know the word. They got paid for not working. And they just sit around. And so for a lot of people, it didn't even prompt them to do anything. They just got lazy. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there is a responsibility in the community, and if you're parents or whatever, or just to, to have stuff to do. I know what you're saying, David. It's really depressing. I know there's that, it's like, yeah, things get covered into graffiti, people destroy things. And it's just, yeah. But that's the thing about, it's like, if you remember that in 1984 in the book, when the main character is now been locked up and he's in the room. I think he ends up seeing his neighbour, who was a snitch. Excuse me. But what they'd done to the other man was just they'd completely demoralised him, and that's the thing. They, once that's done to someone, you don't pity them. You just look on them with disdain. Once they've broken someone, and yeah, that's what's happened to society. That's what's happened to communities. Just become broken, and definitely that's what is so good about Thailand in many ways, and I'm sure it is for China as well. For Mike there, yeah. That community, that sense of community, is still very much alive. This is it. That's one thing. It's like, it still exists. If you're in England and you see it all just kind of dead because of, everyone's just going to the supermarkets and then, sitting at home in front of their TVs or whatever, Xboxes. But yeah, I mean, that used to surprise, that used to annoy me. That, I mean, I would be out working and stuff. Well, not annoy me, but it's like you look at these guys. Some people might be on the dole. They're sitting around playing video games. It's like, what are you doing? Or afraid to get a job because they might lose their dole money. It's like, what? That thought never entered my mind. Yeah. Says, no, there's stuff to do, man. There's So it's just different folks, different strokes. What's that? The Sute. They just built on the biggest outdoor market in Gravesome. The flats that's been put there have to be made out of the wrong concrete and need to be pulled down. Oh God, the outdoor market ruled. And Snaggletooth proof it is an individual journey for us. Everything on earth survives on life. Think about that, life eats life. Yeah, it's a crazy scenario. Yeah, again, but again, why would you don't need to argue about whether God is benevolent or not. It's just the way things are. That's the way things are, and in a way it works, right? Obviously you've got to have the death and decay, and maybe we've got to reach that point where we accept that we're just part of that cycle, and that's a really difficult thing to accept. Lasute, locals did protest against the build on the market. Council took a backhander and went ahead yeah, money talks, eh? Yeah. Conscious Machine 413, hello. Who was the guy on Tim Pool's show spreading the flat word? Tim is a douche regardless, but he reached a big audience. Okay, I don't know Tim Pool's. I don't know, so I'm not sure about that one. If anyone can enlighten Conscious Machine there, that'd be great. Yeah. But yeah, it is a personal journey, isn't it? Yeah. But it's a collective one too. And yeah, we know that the psychology of a crowd can become a monster. Okay, David Banner says Whitsit. Oh, so was it Whitsit was on Conscious Machine? I mean, sorry, on Tim Pool's show, was he? Okay, yeah. But we see, this is it. I mean, we do have this diversity. Again, this whole thing with the people pushing diversity on the that was trending, but it's not worked out, has it? When Jaguar tries to go diverse, yeah, there are still certain things that appeal to people, most people. Yeah, and of course you can change with the times, and times change, but we're still human, and we still need each other, we still need community, and we crave it. And okay, this is very nice to have this. I'd much rather be sitting in a room and everyone's talking and sharing things, we're having these little intimate conversations rather than like this. So, but we make do. Yeah. Yeah, anyone who promotes questioning of science is lovely. Yeah, I'd agree there, man. Yeah. Oh, you watched it today? Okay. All right. Well, I'll check out your channel. I'll have a look at that. It's always good. Yeah. But of course, I think we're probably all doing this, right? We're tuning in to, the things we want to hear, or at least, But yeah, I mean, there's people with they've done such in-depth research, man. And it's fantastic stuff that you just don't have the time to look at yourself, but someone can put, they've gone through, they've investigated the micro to the macro. It's fantastic. It's always okay to hear people out and hear what they found out for themselves. You don't have to agree with everything they say. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, Sherlock's Apprentice, Jaguar. Yeah, it's weird. Just a weird thing. Yeah. Yeah, each to their own, Zeus Scott. That's right, man. I mean, but that's I mean, bloody hell, man. Wouldn't it be boring if we were all the same? I mean, yeah. That's the whole thing. That's the whole... Variety's the spice of life, as my mother used to say. And there are plenty more fish in the sea when I'd finish with my latest girlfriend. Yeah. Oh, P3 Terp, whatever your name is. No way this place is flat. No way it's a globe. No way. Absolutely no way. No matter what you believe. Yeah? And that's from a scientific point of view. The rest of it is open to investigation. We don't have to have a model. Yeah? We don't have to come up with alternatives. This is a realm in which, there's crazy stuff going on that we cannot, why should we pretend to assume that we know what God's intention was with creating this place? Who are we to assume that? Right then, guys, I think I'm gonna. It's really. I'm struggling to speak now, and thank you very much for the contributors to the super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Tony Whitcomb, for your double donation there. Really appreciate that, and thank you very much, Chilster, as well. Thank you. I really appreciate it, man. It's just nice. Yeah. Yeah. Always got business ideas coming out my ear holes, you know. Like I've got there's this thing called it's a kind of mineral, salt mineral, and you can put this in water, and it's basically a deodorant. I use it as, it's like you might have seen these deodorants that you can use. It's like a rock, sodium something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's just kind of this. It's like a natural extract, and it kills bacteria. So you can use these stones as a deodorant, yeah. But actually, you can just dissolve this stuff in water and put it into spray bottles. So I was just looking into that today. People sell them already. Oh, Sourtooth Brew, thank you very much. Thank you for that $2 super chat. Much appreciated. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it made me lose track now. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that was an idea I'm thinking of, but. People do them, you know, and then you could mix it with essential oils. So, yeah, it's like, yeah, I could easily make this stuff because I can get this mineral here in Thailand, and it's soluble in water, and it's, you know, because people are putting aluminium in themselves and they're using aerosols. So I could put this stuff in a spray and ship it, and you could have vanilla, mint, or, you know, with essential oils, you know, tea tree. So yeah. Anyway, I was saying goodbye, so yeah, I was just, you know, but I just wanted to say, you know, so thank you to all of you who have contributed there. Appreciate it. And yeah, let's keep this going. I think, you know, I'd love to talk to people about, you know, how we can get more communal things going. David, if you want to hook up and chat, you know, yeah. And again, you know, if there's people in the UK, like, that I can ship things to in bulk, yeah, this is the main issue I have, because what I've tried, like doing coconut oil and things like that before. I have got a source for like pure cold pressed coconut. Well, it's not even cold pressed, it's like coconut oil that's been left. The way you get coconut oil is by you leave the coconut meat in the sun and it eventually turns to oil, yeah, rather than using heat to do it, yeah. So I've got a source for that, but the thing is, you can't really sell it bit by bit retail to people abroad because the post and packaging is just too much, yeah. So what I need people that can accept bulk, and we can work out something where, okay, you distribute it in the UK or wherever you are, but you know, obviously they need to be able to ship the stuff to them. If I can ship stuff over in bulk, that's how, you know, we can do things. And there are so many natural products here, like I said, coconut oil, the natural deodorant, things like that, yeah. All things I've tried before but just can't shift in the right way because it's just impossible to do it piece by piece, yeah. Anyway, I'm not even going to bother with you, Phil, Professor Phil. You're too late to come into the discussion here, yeah. Yeah, okay. All right. Look, it's a long goodbye, so this could go on forever. But yeah, let's do it. Let's focus on, you know, being more productive, more communal, and yeah, it's not about only just fighting these numbskulls that want to, you know, pretend that they live on a spinning ball. It's about going back to celebrating being individuals, going back to celebrating community, going back to being what it is to be human, yeah. Those everyday interactions, they're what count. Those are what count, yeah. Okay. So, all right, I'm gonna love you and leave you, and thank you very much to everyone, yeah, that's come in and contributed. All right, I'm definitely going now. All right, so thank you very much. Take care. Speak soon.